Hello, everyone. We are the Coakleys.
Hey, everyone. Good evening.
Yes, good evening. I'm Renee Coakley, and that's my husband,
Cal Coakley.
And we are actually from Coakley Financial Group. We teach families the importance of life insurance. We're actually really excited to be here tonight, and we do want to go ahead and thank Ronnie and Lamar.
That's right.
From Black and Married with Kids for letting us talk today. I know you guys probably didn't think we were Ronnie and Lamar, did you? So today we're going to talk about 3 non-negotiable things that you need in order to protect your family before you leave this earth. And the reason why this is so important for us is because Coakley Financial Group is an award-winning insurance agency.
That's right.
So one of the things that we do, and our mission, is to educate families on the importance of life insurance. So that's why we came here today to go ahead and let you guys know about the 3 non-negotiable things that you need in order to be able to protect your family. So do you want to go ahead and start?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Again, first of all, I want to thank Ronnie and Lamar for this great opportunity to be on this platform with Black and Married with Kids. I'm Cal Coakley, the CEO of Coakley Financial Group. And the first thing we want to touch on is have a written plan for your family. It's huge when it comes to life insurance. And I know a lot of times we don't want to actually take that time to sit down and do that because it's not, most people don't want to talk about life insurance because when you're talking about life insurance, you're usually thinking about your demise. And a lot of us don't want to think about that, but it's such an important part of the process. So the first thing I would say is that you need to get all the information written down that you'd like to get done. So if you want to, for example, do you know if you want to be buried or you want to be cremated? You know, that's a hard question. Yeah. But in some states here in America, the United States, when you get cremated, you're required your next of kin approval. And a lot of people don't know that when it comes to cremation. So first thing you want to find out, want to let your family know, how would you like to go? You know, do you want to have a traditional funeral or you want to be cremated? Do you want to have a funeral or do you just want to have, you know, a picture up of you? Yeah. Things of that nature when it comes to a burial. What cemetery you want to be buried at? Do you want to be buried in the state you are right now or you want to go back overseas to another country? You know, so those are the things they need to know. Where are your documentation? Like, for example, important documentation they may need, birth certificate, marriage certificates, wills or trusts. Where are those located so that your loved one who you've selected, that beneficiary, also your beneficiary needs to know where the policy is at. A lot of times the beneficiary doesn't know the loved one has a policy and that insurance policy go on claim. And there are millions of dollars of insurance policy that go on claim every year because the beneficiary is not aware. The best way to let the beneficiary know is to basically give them a copy of that policy that you do have and give it to that loved one. So those are a couple things that we recommend that you have when you're trying to protect your family before your demise. Also, if you're a family and you have kids, you want to make sure that that information, you know, is separated. So who gets what, you know, so if that's written down, if there's 3 or 4 kids, you want to make sure that's written down, you know, who, if Johnny or Bill or Sarah, who gets what portion of that policy if you're leaving more than just to be put away.
Well, not only that, you know, a lot of times, you know, I always feel like we plan for everything. You know, we plan to get married, we plan to go to college, we plan to have kids, but then we never plan for the worst day of our family's lives. So I just kind of feel like it's the mature thing to do when you're an adult and you care about someone and you love them, is to go ahead and sit down and just take a little bit of time. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant. It doesn't have to be anything that's tedious. It can be things like writing down your favorite color or writing down your favorite song or things that you want the family to remember you by. And I do see that Rachel Taylor had said that her parents, both of her parents, died unexpectedly within 5 years, and they didn't have any life insurance. Wow. I know that must have been really difficult for you guys.
That is, yes. That's why we feel that we're doing it. We're trying to serve our community.
Yes.
And again, a lot of times, just it's so inexpensive, less than $1 a day, can be enough just to put that loved one away. Yeah. And people just don't understand how inexpensive it is to get a burial life insurance policy just for that reason. But again, a lot of us don't like to think about that. Other things that.
Well, that is true. But I mean, it's something that's just small. But, a lot of times we don't just think about just the planning and communicating. So if that's done and you actually sit down and have a written plan for your family, it makes it a little bit easier. So that's actually one of the non-negotiable things that you should have in order to protect your family. So if your family doesn't know what your wishes are, and not only that, I know that there's been a situation that I heard of where, because there wasn't any planning, a gentleman passed and he did not update any of his beneficiaries on his policies, his 401k or anything like that at work. So unfortunately, the beneficiary was not his wife. So there's no way that she would have any access to that money at all. So a lot of times it's not things that we want to talk about, but it's things that we need to talk about in order to make sure that our families, when, again, the worst day of their lives is when we're no longer here, that they're taken care of. I do see that Sheena also joined. Hi, Sheena.
Hey, thanks for joining, Sheena.
Yes, I'm loving to see all the people that are joining. And if you guys want to ask any questions, please feel free to ask any questions. Also wanted to go ahead and thank Lamar and Ronnie for going ahead and giving us this platform, Black and Married with Kids, to go ahead and speak about the importance of the 3 non-negotiable things that we need in order to protect our families and before we leave this earth. So we went ahead and determined what number one was, which is to have a written plan for your family.
That's right.
So what is number 2?
Number 2, Renee, is will. Have a will.
Wow.
We all need to have that legal documentation. It's huge, because if you don't have that legal documentation, right, sometimes your family can't get to that money, that legacy that you're leaving, especially if, let's say a living will. Let's say if you're not able to, you're not in a position to write or speak anymore, and you need someone who you trust that's going to make sure you can take care of all your final needs that you want to get done. You want to make sure that if you have small kids, those kids, can still go on to college if they need to go to college. The money is divided correctly from that life insurance policy. So a will is very important to have put in place, and they're not that expensive. We recommend that you sit down with an attorney that does work. That's what they're basically their profession is to work on wills. And we've got one done. And
we did. Because I thought that was important, because we do have small kids.
Yes.
So with us having small kids, I felt that it was important that if anything happened to us, that the guardianship would automatically be there, that people would know exactly what our wishes were, what we planned on doing, and also, who would be the guardians of our kids. So that was really important. Now, I do know that some people can't afford to go to an actual attorney. So one of the things that you can also do is, I know that there's some forms that you can download. So you can download some forms and go ahead and fill those out yourself, but again, of course, it is important, if you can afford it, to go ahead and have an attorney look at something like that for you. So, a lot of times we don't realize how important it is to have our wishes written down. So if we go ahead and we have a plan and we go ahead and we have a will, then it leaves our family in better shape, because they kind of know what your wishes are. Not only that, it just feels like it's like you reaching back and giving them a love letter. It's like you showing them some love. So, it's like you love them in life. You want them to know that when you're gone, that you still love them. And this was something that you thought about. And I know that it's always difficult when you leave a loved one, but it's also more difficult when you have absolutely no idea what it is that they want, what it is that they intended. And, a lot of times it's just really difficult. So it's like kind of, again, reaching back and giving them just a little bit of love, showing them how much you actually did love them. You love them in life, but then you loved them while you were gone too, because you thought enough of them to go ahead and plan and prepare.
Yes. And again, by having a will, it is a legal documentation. So therefore your wishes will get, implemented in the event of your death. So it's good. And one of the good things about when you download that stuff online, those forms, just make sure it's getting notarized. It does need to be notarized.
That is right.
That makes sure so that while it's notarized, now it becomes a legal document and you can use it as such.
That's right. And you can actually go to a bank and get it notarized.
Yep. Yeah, most banks will do it for free or you charge you a few dollars.
Yeah.
But will is very important to have. We recommend it, especially if you have a lot of assets. You need to have something in place for your family, so because if you don't have a will in place, then sometimes it can take longer for your family to receive those funds or money. The good thing about a life insurance is that as long as you have the designated beneficiary of your choice, then it'll pay out right to that beneficiary. But also if there's a large amount of money and that money needs to be separated different ways, that's where that will comes in.
Well, not only that, I don't know if I would want the state to decide how my things were going to be divvied up or who was going to get whatever it was that I left behind. I don't think the state knows me that well. So that's actually not something that I would want to do. So, it's kind of like, as opposed to your family having to go through the bureaucracy to go ahead and do that for them. Now, if anyone does have any questions, please feel free to drop something in the comments, say hi, let us know where you're from.
Yes.
So again, I am Renee Coakley, and this is my husband.
I'm Cal Coakley. How are you?
And we are owners of Coakley Financial Group. We do, again, want to thank Lamar and Ronnie for giving us this platform, Black and Married with Kids, tonight. So we're hoping that we can go ahead and bless anyone who listens to this with this information, because our mission is to go out and educate families on the importance of life insurance. We've seen it where people have had to have fish fries, GoFundMe pages.
That's right.
Churches have had to take up collections, and that is really difficult. I know there are times when we can't afford it, but then sometimes it's as small as giving up a cup of coffee a day, or not only that, just a lot of times we go out to dinner, we go to the movies, and, we can go ahead and make some of those sacrifices. Oh, okay. Well, thank you. I'm hoping I say this right. Daisha. She said, thank you for the info. So I know that a lot of times, this is not a subject that we talk about. This is not something that is even, I think a lot of times people feel like it's taboo, because if they talk about death, then it's oh my gosh, I'm gonna die, or why are you trying to kill me? And that is so not the case. Just because you talk about it and you plan and prepare, it just means that you are being mature and you're being an adult and you're handling your business. So I know that not everyone is comfortable with this, and it's not something that you have to talk about all at one time. So you can break it down into pieces. So one of the things that you can do is maybe like one day talk about like your favorite songs, or who you might want to have certain things when you're not here, or just, even write someone a letter and let them know how important you are to them. Because I think that's huge.
Yes.
I think that's huge, because a lot of times, we don't tell people how much we love them. So, okay, so we have number 1 and we have number 2. Number 1 was have a written plan for your family. And number 2 was to have a will. Oh, I do see that Keisha Brown is on. Hi, Keisha.
Hey, Keisha,
thanks. You said hello. Thanks for joining us.
That's right.
Thanks for joining us. So, Cal, what would you say is number 3?
Number 3 is the biggie. But right before we go to number 3, I wanted to touch on something real quick,
okay,
Renee, is because since we're talking about planning, because we plan for everything else, right? Mm-hmm. We plan for retirement. Yes. We plan for vacation. Yes. But for some reason, we scared to plan for our demise, mm-hmm. So, but that's part of life, because living and death is all part of life. So include that in your planning. And if you haven't, please start planning that today, because it's going to really, what you're basically going to be doing is showing your family love by putting a plan like that in place. Just wanted to touch on that real quick.
Okay. Also see that Kenroy joined. Hi, Kenroy.
Hey, Kenroy. Thanks for joining.
Yes, thanks for joining. So we're going to go ahead and review those 3 non-negotiable things again. The first one is to have a written plan. And the second one is to have a will. And Cal, what is number 3?
Number 3 is have enough coverage in place that give your family a peace of mind. A peace of mind, because and if you have a young family, let's give you some examples. If you have a young family, for example, which we do, we have 2 younger kids, and let's say one of us has to pass away, right? And, it might not even be the high income earner may not pass away, but even though the one that's not the high income earner, right, that still take care of the kids most of the time, which is my wife. And let's say for some reason she passed away, I still need to have enough coverage on her, because someone is going to still have to help me take care of the kids, right? Yeah. So sometimes we forget about that as well. So make sure that you have sufficient coverage on each partner, right? Yeah. That therefore, if someone of you had to pass prematurely, you can still have the same lifestyle that if that person was still here with you, right? So have enough money to take care of the college for your kids if they want to go to college, enough money set aside for the retirement, enough if they wanted, for example, enough money to take care of your home, if right. To pay off your home if need be, or pay it down or pay it in half. So therefore, you don't feel that burden. Enough money so that the spouse that's left behind or partner that's left behind, don't have to go back to work right away, because they have enough funds to continue that same lifestyle while a loved one has gone. So that's what we mean by leaving a peace of mind. So make sure that you got enough coverage. Wow. And that's what we help you with as well at Coakley Financial Group.
So I do see that Sharon said that her father has a terminal bone cancer. Sorry to hear that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And that We the Kids' mom, that they've all sat down on several occasions and discussed his wishes in reference to life insurance and burial and personal effects and making sure that mom is cared for. That's Oh, okay. I'm not sure what happened. Number 1, that shows how much you guys care for your dad, because you care enough to have those conversations, to find out what it is that he wants, to find out what it is that's important to him. So that's huge. And then not only that, you guys care enough about your mom to talk about what's going to happen when he's no longer here. So, and that's, that's the part that I want everyone to see is the love, is the love and the care that we can show just by having these simple conversations. And no one wants their loved ones to leave. No one wants anything to happen to their loved ones. But you do want to let them know that you care about their wishes and that you care about them and that you love them. So Sharon, that is huge. I do go ahead and, that right there is awesome, very Sharon. Commendable. That is awesome. So yes. I am sending you guys lots and lots of love. But it looks like your family's already filled with a lot of love, but I am sending lots of love in your direction.
That's
lots
awesome.
of love. So for those of us who just joined, I am Renee Coakley, and this is
Cal Coakley
of Coakley Financial Group. And we want to go ahead and thank Lamar and Ronnie again for allowing us to have this platform so that we can go ahead and give this information. Again, what we're speaking about tonight are the 3 non-negotiable things that you need in order to protect your family before you leave this earth. So the first thing was to have a written plan. The second thing was to have a will. And then the third was to make sure that you have enough coverage. So, I do see that Bernadette just joined. Hi, Bernadette.
Hey,
How are you?
Thanks for joining.
Yes, thanks for joining.
Yes.
So, a lot of times I hear people say things like, oh, well, I have coverage at work. I think that that's enough. And what do you think about that, Cal?
Oh, good question, Renee. Good question, because it's great at work, but when you leave work, it can decrease. Even if you've been in a company 20, 30 years and retired, you're not going to get the same amount of coverage that you had at work, because that's considered group coverage. Wow. So you always want to have something outside of work while you're still working. And I say get it when you're young, because when you get older and you leave the job, you may not get enough coverage, or you may not qualify for the coverage because you may have some illnesses that came upon you.
Wow. So I know a lot of times, and that's kind of why we came up with a checklist that we have that's here where you can click the link. It's bit.ly and it's CFG 9 questions. And it's Coakley Financial Group 9 questions. So it's CFG 9 questions. So the bit.ly link is posted in the link above. And what it is just a questionnaire. It's 9 questions that you need to ask yourself to determine if you need life insurance. So a lot of times, we'll go out and we'll see clients, we'll see couples, and we'll see just single individuals, and they'll ask things like, do I need insurance? How do I know if I need insurance? Don't I have enough coverage? That's the part that, we of course help people with, is determining whether or not you have enough coverage. So, you want to make sure that you're able to cover the salary of the person that's gone. It depends on what your family's needs are. There are a lot of people that go ahead and cover the mortgage, and they get an insurance policy that if that person passes, it will take care of the mortgage, which is, of course, mortgage protection. Yes. We offer final expense insurance also, which takes care of your burial. So it just kind of depends on what the policy is for and the type of policies that you go ahead and purchase. So we do want to go ahead and share that link with anyone that is on here tonight that's interested in going ahead and getting that free download. And it just kind of makes you sit back and think about the things that are going on in your life and whether or not you do need additional coverage. Because I know, you don't want it to happen where you pass and your family has maybe just enough to pay for your funeral, but then nothing else to live on. So it's just trying to make sure that whatever the plans are, that you have enough coverage. So do you want to go ahead and review those 3 non-negotiable things, Cal, or do you want me to go ahead and review them?
Yeah, I can. The first one is have a written plan for your family. Yes. Make sure you have some written down, have it somewhere put away in a safe place so they know exactly where it is, and let them know where it's located. So in the event of your passing, they know exactly where to get it. And you need to let more than one person know, because one might pass before the other. Yeah. So let more than one person know. And also, it's also good to have more than one beneficiary on the policy, so because one might go before the other. So those are good pointers we want to share with you. Number 2 is also have a will, have a legal document with all the wishes that you like to have accomplished and done, so everyone is happy. And then number 3 is have enough coverage in place so you give your family a peace of mind. So basically leaving a legacy for your family, so you don't leave, instead of leaving a burden, but a legacy by having enough coverage in place for your family.
That's right. So instead of leaving your family with debt, you can actually leave them with dollars. And it is important if you do have a job and you've had some life changes where you've either had children or you've gotten married, to go ahead and make sure that you change over the beneficiaries on your 401ks, any profit shares, things like that. So again, the reason why we're here tonight is our mission. And this is what we've been called to do, is to educate families on the importance of life insurance. And that's just because when you look around, less than 1/3 of the U.S. has insurance coverage. Yes. And that's sad, because that's a lot of people that aren't planning.
Uninsured.
So yes, it's a lot of people that are uninsured and that haven't planned. So our mission is to go ahead and educate people on the importance of that, because we, of course, want our families to be healthy. We want them to be happy. And, of course, we want them to feel loved. So I'm Renee Coakley, and this is Cal Coakley.
I'm Cal Coakley, CEO of Coakley Financial Group, and my business partner here, my wife, Renee Coakley. And we're excited for this great opportunity from Ronnie and Lamar with Black and Married with Kids. Thank you for this platform.
Yes. Now, if anyone has any questions, they can feel free to put the questions and comments below. We'll go ahead and come back and answer them. If anyone else has any questions that they want to go ahead and drop in there now, we'll be more than happy to answer, but we'll come back and answer those. Oh, feel free to follow us. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as Coakley Financial Group, so feel free to follow us. If you have any questions, we do want to be your go-to source where you can pick up the phone or email or even message us and ask any questions that you might have. You know, again, our mission is to serve. So if you have anything that you want to ask privately, we have no problem with going ahead and giving you that information. But we do want to go ahead and thank everyone that joined tonight. And I am so excited and so happy to be here. And, oh, matter of fact, we'll be back next week.
That's right.
That's right. We will be back next week at 7. So I look forward to seeing everyone again. Invite your friends, invite your family. Please feel free to share this. If you're watching this on the replay, please go ahead and type replay in there so that we know that you did go ahead and get this information. But we want to thank you, and you guys have a good night and a great weekend.
That's right. Have a great weekend.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.